Welcome in to Rock Hard Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs. Let's get rock hard. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to another episode of Rock Hard Ball. I'm Carter, that's Weezy. We got Clyde back in studio as well. He was gone last episode. He had a one-game suspension for being just dumb. So he's back, though. Good to have you back, Clyde.
Happy to be back.
Okay. Thanks for hopping in there. So yeah, Kelly's Kinky Rankings will be back tonight. So that's a good thing, maybe. I don't know, depending on who you talk to.
It'll be good.
But good show on deck tonight. But before we get into kind of what's on the docket, let's another little reminder. Go check out the socials: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. I don't know, everything. Go follow us at Rock Hard Ball, at Rock Hard Ball Pod, so you can stay up to date with everything that's going on. We finally kind of got back on posting some clips and stuff too. So if you don't catch the full episode, usually probably the most important stuff will be out there, so you can go catch up that way a little bit. But yeah, check that stuff out. Let's get into what we have though. College football week 2 recap. Obviously, big week in college football. Lots that happened. We previewed, what we thought were going to be the biggest games going into the week in our episode on Thursday. Some of those games did end up being important, but there was also a large handful of games that we did not see really being worth talking about that are surely going to be talked about today now based on what happened. NFL week 1, talk about what we learned as we look forward to the rest of the season, what we got going forward over there. We'll have Rock Hard Bets updates. Obviously, we won't have more new bets yet. Those come on Thursday, but we'll give you a recap on how these past weeks, ended up doing. And then we'll get into Rock Hard Takes, Kelly's Kinky Rankings, and all that good stuff. So should be a good episode. First things first, let's get into the college football week 2 storylines. Should we go AP rankings first or probably the games first?
Probably games first.
Okay, yeah.
Then come back to
Alrighty.
rankings.
So week 2 storylines here from college football. Obviously, number 1 there, Texas throttled Michigan at the Big House. We're going to get into that. Weezy was on, he was on watch there for a little bit, but I think he's doing a little bit better now. So we'll get into that. Nebraska dominates Colorado. Great to see. Nebby might be back. Again, we'll talk more about that in depth as we get there. NIU, story of the weekend, taking down Notre Dame on the road. Obviously, Notre Dame ranked number 5 is their highest ranking since the preseason of 2021 or 2022, I think. They lose at home, so massive game there, especially for playoff implications. A real game there already, even in the 12-team playoff era, that could affect things down the stretch. Other ranked teams, there's a couple other ones that fell at home. We'll talk about those ones. And then on the flip side, there's multiple ranked teams who were on dangerous upset alert for most of Saturday, and somehow it seems like almost all of them ended up surviving.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll get into all of that as we move through the episode. That being said, let's get into the hard one first. Texas throttles Michigan at the Big House.
Such a mean word.
I'm sorry, Weez, it's a mean word, but it didn't look great. Final score 31-12. The score, it was over early, 24-3 at halftime. Michigan got a little bit of a kind of a petty touchdown there towards the end. And yeah, Quinn Ewers looked really good. That offensive line from Texas obviously is one of the best in the country. Michigan's D-line wasn't able to do too much on them. Really good game planning by Steve Sarkisian as well. The 2 big boys in the middle for Michigan, obviously 2 of the best defensive players in the country. They didn't really go at them until they came off the field. And then as soon as those guys came out, that's when Texas went downhill at them. Otherwise, there's a lot of quick stuff, using their speed to the outside, not letting those guys, affect the game. So smart game plan. They just, really good game by Texas. I'll let you go first before I kind of give the rest of my thoughts, but that's kind of, I guess, what happened. Lay that out first. So.
No, it felt like Michigan's team last year. Texas's O-line, I knew would be good. It might be the best in the country.
I think it probably
Big
is.
boys can't move. Like when you're obviously, like you said, though, the game planning was unbelievable. When Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant came out of the game, it's when they exposed them. And when they were in the game, it was quick hitters. There was so much speed. Like, yeah, there's nothing to do, man. No, I don't know. Like, do you think Michigan really sucks, or do you think Texas is really good, or are both true?
I think that the biggest thing in this game is that Texas is very, very good. I've seen a couple other people say it. I'm just going to kind of piggyback off it as well, because I think it's true. We now know officially that there's a tier 1 in college football, and then there's everybody else until proven otherwise. I think there's 1A, 1B, 1C. Georgia, Ohio State, and Texas, I think, are way better than everybody else.
Yes.
And until another team, can prove otherwise, I think that's going to be the way it goes. funny enough, in the first year we go to the 12-team playoff, this might be one of the most like lopsided in terms of like we have like 3 just powerhouse teams. I think that just are going to kick the shit out of everybody else, and we'll see how it goes. Obviously, conference play is going to come in, and we'll see how serious this take really is, I guess, because Ohio State's eventually going to have to play Michigan and Oregon, who again haven't looked great so far, but I still think are good teams. And then Texas and Georgia, they're going to get into SEC play. They're going to be tested more. But these 3 teams do look to be just way better than everybody else. So
I mean, my whole thing with this is I think Texas is a lot better. I also think Michigan would have really benefited from having last year's schedule in terms of they didn't play anybody until week 7 because they just brought in so much new talent, new coaches, and having to play this game week 2, I think really threw like a wrench in that.
Yes.
On Saturday, I was a little down. I was down on the team. I'm not going to officially give up on them, but like something needs to get figured out.
Yeah,
and I don't think you can. I don't think you can just roll out Davis Warren every single week and say go play quarterback.
That's exactly what I was going to get to too. Is yes, I do think that Texas is very, very good, but at the same time, like you just mentioned, I think if this game is played in whatever week 9, week 10 instead of week 2, I think it's a much more competitive game because, like you said, Michigan has a lot of new pieces. Obviously, Sharon Moore has been there, for years now, and he had a little bit of experience being an interim coach, but he hasn't had to, build his own thing yet. I guess. I mean, like when you're an interim coach, you have all the guys that have been.
You had the best roster in college.
Yeah, you had the best roster in college football that were prepped, week in and week out by one of the best coaches in college football, and all you had to do is basically just don't screw it up.
Yeah. Say Jim was there every single day during the week. The whole thing with this too is like all the post game, like they didn't seem like too down, which is good. They were just like, yeah, we got our asses kicked. It's a good wake up call, which it is. But look, like I don't know, the playoffs are weird. I think CBS Sports came out with an article that gives Michigan like an 8% chance, which doesn't make sense though. Like teams like Fresno State have a 12.
Yeah, no, I saw one that
like Nebraska was not on there.
Yeah, I think who was it that was like outrageous? There was some team that had a higher percentage than Nebraska. That's I don't know what the hell it was. It's like somebody that's like 2-0, but like has just zero chance of making the playoff. Not saying that Nebraska is going to make the playoff, like for sure. Yes, I am starting to get closer and closer to believing that that's a real possibility, but we'll talk about that more in a second. But yeah, no, I don't think Michigan's written off at all yet. I think that people are overreacting. It's week 2, and yeah, college football can have things happen early in the season that will play big factors down the road. Like Notre Dame's loss, I think will be a very real factor. But if Michigan can get things kind of squared away a little bit here, and then they get through Big Ten play,
here's the kick in the ass though, they don't have time. They play Arkansas State this week, which, by the way, that spread's only 21, which already tells me Vegas thinks that this team's pretty dog shit. And then you turn around, you play a USC team who's going to be ranked higher than you. If you go 2-0 and then if you handle USC at home, I'll be back.
Oh yeah, they will be back. Here's the thing I will say though, I'm officially out on them having any chance to win the national title. I don't think that no matter what happens the rest of the season, I don't think that Michigan has a chance to compete for the national title. However, they are 100% not out of playoff contention. Not even close.
No, if they would have, like I would have thought, if that was like a 24-20 game, we lost a little inexperience. I think national title was still there.
Yeah.
I think Texas is still one of those top teams. No, you're right though. And then there's one point to this game where I'd like to see your opinion on too. Twitter clowned the defense, right? I thought it was the best defense in the country. I still think it's top 5 defense. I just think it's really tough to play defense when you're on the field for 36 minutes of a 45-minute game.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's honestly kind of a good segue point as we kind of move into the next game, which is Nebraska dominating Colorado. This Nebraska defense is, I think, again, I really don't think I'm being biased here. I think it's a top 10 defense in the country. And depending on how the rest of the year goes, obviously we still got to play some, much more talented opponents. Colorado's offensive line's terrible, but they still have playmakers all over the place. Shedeur Sanders still a good quarterback, and they just dominated them like every single play. And there was never a chance like this game was over within the first 10 minutes. I still think that Nebraska defense is really, really good. Last year, these two teams are very similar outside of the fact that Nebraska had the biggest quarterback upgrade in the country. But other than that, these Nebraska and Colorado teams are fairly similar to what they were last year when they played. Colorado won that game by like 20 points because the defense was constantly on the field. They got wore out in the first half. It was only like a 10, 13-point game, I think, going into halftime. But Nebraska kept turning the ball over. Defense got put in shitty spots. And then Colorado ended up running the score up a little bit in the second half. So, yes, fatigue, very real thing. This time, Nebraska's defense, was out there less probably than the offense. I don't know what the actual time possession was, but I had to assume they were out there less than the offense. And they, as we, now know, kicked the shit out of Colorado's offense for the entire game.
Yeah. Which, again, like you said, Nebraska's defense is unbelievable. It's one of the best in the Big Ten for sure. I don't know if I think I would like to see them play, more talented team to say it's like a top 10 in the country. But the big one to me was just how bad Colorado's offensive line is. Just getting blown up every single play. And like we said earlier, it's like if Colorado needs to run the ball, it needs to throw the ball, it's not going to go well. It didn't go well.
No. But now I will get to the part where I get to, maybe rant a little bit, get a little bit delusional as fans do. So Nebraska wins 28-10. Complete opposite of last year again, whereas the scoreboard last year, I don't remember what the exact final score was last year, but it was like 36-10, maybe something like that. And I think that game was closer than the score said. This year, I think the game was much more dominant than the scoreboard says. Nebraska was up 20-0 at halftime.
Yeah. The game was over at halftime.
Yeah, the game was over, I think, in the first 10 minutes, like I said earlier. Shitter Sanders gets picked off on a nice play from Tommy Hill for the pick six right away. And then they obviously the opening drive, they go down and score right away. Dante Dowdle was just running guys over, ran them over so hard that Shiloh broke his forearm. As much as I hate Shiloh, whatever, speedy recovery. But he was just running through that Colorado defense. Rylage continued to look good. He didn't have to be, super special in this game because, like I said, the defense was so good and the running game was good. Colorado just didn't have answers for Nebraska anyways. Rylage still went 23 for 30, 185 yards and a touchdown. Will say the touchdown pass was a little shaky. That ball very well could have been picked off, but
probably should have been. But at the same time, though, we're sitting here where Nebraska wants to go this year. He does not need to play unbelievable. He needs to be better than the quarterback play last year, which is not a hard ask.
No, not even close. And that's why I think
that's the difference. Jeff Sims could not stop turning the ball over last year, so Colorado wins by 20.
Yeah, Jeff Sims, Heinrich Harburg, Chubba Purdy, they tried throwing every single guy out there, and all of them were awful. But yeah, and again, biggest quarterback upgrade in the country because, like you said, all he has to do is not turn the ball over. We've already seen, though, in the first couple of weeks, again, not the toughest competition, but we've still seen it. He's better than just not somebody that's just not going to turn the ball over. He's a special talent.
Yeah. I will though say some of the throws he did make in the game, maybe not going to want to make those against better defenses. There were some that were the deep ball on the comeback. I forgot who caught it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, rolling, he had to turn around and run back towards it.
Didn't like that ball.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one he probably shouldn't have thrown. I mean, he was moving to the right, and he had to throw all the way back across the field.
Yeah, and he also had a running lane, but it worked out. And punch it in the very next play. But you know what I mean? Like there was the high safety back there, the man on him. It was one of those weird plays where both defenders lost it too. Don't want to throw that in the future, but again, though,
I also liked the aggressiveness to throw it downfield a little bit because they will need to do that at some point. You're gonna have to eventually get aggressive, and that was kind of the one maybe a little bit of a knock that they had early in the UTEP game is it felt like they were being a little too conservative on offense. Obviously, it was UTEP and they were always gonna win that game, but even in the second half of that game, I think they adjusted well, started trying to take a couple more shots, but. I'm very excited. I mean, looking at the rest of the schedule, it's getting kind of dangerous territory in terms of my thoughts on the season now, because the more and more I look at it and the other teams that they're going to play, if they get through to Ohio State 7-0 going into that game, I think that they go 10-2 because it's the only other game I see them losing really towards at the end there is maybe USC on the road. But the 7-0 is not a guarantee. Illinois looks to be better than we thought, so. We'll see how that ends up going.
It's always going to be a tough game too. And then also I get Iowa lost this week. That game's always,
No, it's going to be a tough game.
But yeah, no. I think the very low right now should be 9-3.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything less than that should be looked at a bit of a failure of the season.
Yeah, no, I'm in full agreement. And again, it's so hard because it sounds ridiculous for how bad Nebraska's been for years and coming off of a 5-7 season still last year where they still lost some close games. We probably sound like delusional if you told somebody a year or two ago that hey, these two kids that go to school in Nebraska are being talking on their podcast about how if Nebraska doesn't go 9-3, it's a failure of the season. People are gonna be like, are they, stupid? They gotta look how bad Nebraska is. Yeah, no, it's a completely different team.
Okay, so in my head, I was thinking about this, and I would love to hear your opinion on it. It's hypothetical. Dylan Raiola plays for Michigan. What's the score of that Michigan-Texas game this week?
I think Texas, it's probably close to what you thought it would have been. I think Texas probably wins 24-20.
Okay. Clyde?
Yeah, I feel like Dylan would have. Fuck,
Davis
you might-
Warren's
you-
pretty bad.
You might have won
Davis
that
Warren's
fucking-
pretty bad, but to be fair, O-line just got manhandled all night long.
Yeah.
It's one of those where I like more arm talent when you're down big
Yeah,
to
exactly.
just sling it, which Davis Warren's not the option. To be fair, I'm giving Davis Warren too much hate too. Outside of Colston Loveland, receivers
Yeah,
getting
you don't have
open is
receivers.
a big problem. Which
Yeah.
so we need to change something because we have speedsters who are small. So you're gonna have to almost run like an Oregon style offense, where it's just quick hitters, and they have not been trying to do that.
I mean, one more kind of thought on Nebraska and like Raiola too is kind of want to get your opinion. Like, I think he might be the second best quarterback. I think he's probably the second best quarterback in the Big Ten. Is that crazy to say?
Again, I like it's not a yes or no problem like question
And
to me.
I kind of posed this earlier too to like one of my roommates, and it was I kind of said it wrong there, and I said it wrong again. I said I wasn't going to do that, but more kind of looking towards like the end of the season. Like I think that there's like a very good chance that when the season wraps up, we're gonna be like Dylan Raiola was the second best quarterback in the Big Ten this year. Like yeah, obviously they've played lesser opponents, but just enough of like what I've saw. Do you think it would be like?
It's not a
Would it really
wild-
surprise you if that happened?
It's not. Yes,
Because who do you think still like?
I think 3. I think he slides in really nice at the 3 spot.
Who do you have it to?
I think Will Howard just has way too much talent around him to not put up big numbers this year. He's going to do it with his feet too. And then it's like I'm going to go to USC and Lincoln Riley every single time. Miller Moss, I think, is probably going to have a better year than he does.
I would probably give Miller Moss over Will Howard. Like in terms of Will Howard's going to put up numbers, but in terms of like actual talent and like who I want to be my quarterback, I think I'd still.
But I'm looking
take
at like the general public, like the guy who puts up more numbers. Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
the average
obviously.
person who watches football is going to go. Yeah, I don't think Will Howard's very.
We're
good
not the
quarterback.
average people that watch football though.
Yes,
We're ball knowers.
Yes, we're elite.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think. Yeah, in terms of talent wise, I don't think Will Howard's that much better than Dylan Raiola if he is better.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's one of those situations though where we don't know what Nebraska's going to look like going into Columbus.
Yeah.
Like we don't know if they're going to be able to score.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I mean, we'll just have to keep monitoring, I guess, all season long. I think Illinois will tell a lot too, honestly. Like
Do we know what that
more than we
spread
thought.
is
What?
already for like that Ohio State Nebraska game?
I don't know if it shows that far out or not.
I know some do because I'd love to know the spread on that. I can't find it, so no.
Ohio State minus 25.5.
Damn.
So yeah, still pretty big spread. But I mean, Nebraska will be favored in every other game before that.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see like if they'll show me like an Iowa spread yet.
I would imagine it's gonna be Nebraska like minus 2.5.
They don't have one for that yet. So,
Okay.
but yeah, no,
25 is a lot
Excited.
though.
25 is a lot. But again, a lot of it's so much, and you hate to do it to the kid, but like so much this season still does ride on Dylan Raiola because we know that the defense is good enough. That defense is good enough to be a playoff.
As much as I want to say,
playoff
like,
defense.
that's a team that should match up with Ohio State in terms of matching up, like not get blown out. But at the same time, you're asking a lot for an 18-year-old kid to go into Columbus against
100%. And that's
a top 3
and that's
team.
why I still think that if they go 7-0, they go to Ohio State, even if they lose to Ohio State by like 17, something like that, like like which is maybe even still a big ass to lose that game by 17 points. But if they lose to Ohio State like anything less than maybe like 20, and they maybe they lose to USC by 1 score on the road and they win every other game this season, I think they're in the playoff, right? Especially based on like what USC seems to be trending towards.
Possibly.
Because I mean,
Again,
USC
I
ranked
hate
11.
doing this. I hate doing this right now.
I know, but it's
So-
fun.
No, not
No, you have
because
to.
it's fun. Because how many teams have we talked about so far saying they go 10-2, do they get in?
Well, there's going to be an entire line of teams that are going to be 10-2.
So many.
we didn't get in.
So who gets in? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I don't. Nebraska goes 10-2 and plays within like a 10-point game of Ohio State. Yeah, they probably get in.
Think they have to play within 10.
I think they have to play them really close.
Fair enough. All right, we'll move off. We don't sit here. And
I'll
talk
tell you
about
what, they go
Nebraska.
10-2 and lose by 35. No.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. You can't get pumped like that. So I don't know. At the same time, though, it's like we're talking about Michigan. It's like that they lost.
I
They
don't.
lost by just,
I
like,
don't. I don't
25.
think they can afford another loss.
Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably can.
They can maybe afford one, and it would have to be you beat Oregon pretty bad at home, which obviously right now seems like a tough task, but I don't know if it will. We'll talk about Oregon. They don't look like a very good football team. You're gonna have to beat USC at home pretty good too, which again, if they get it right, they could. and then they can go 10-2 by losing to Ohio State. But that's going to have to be like a 2016 game where that's going to have to be like a 3-point, like an overtime type of game. Then maybe.
We'll get into a couple comments here. Cass says Greg Gard stand account called it Illinois will beat Nebraska. At this point, Illinois is definitely the game I'm worried most about now. I thought it was gonna be Rutgers probably in that first stretch.
I'm still terrified about Rutgers.
That game's still scary, but I do think that Illinois maybe has moved ahead because they have looked really good so far. Again, I think it helps a lot that game's going to be at home still. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know. Greg Gard stand account. I still going to take Nebraska as of now, but we'll see what happens. You got Kelly's kinky rankings. Top 5 things each side did wrong, like Tyreek Hill arrest in order. Not going to do that. He's already got his Kelly's kinky rankings tonight. A little bit more just straight football tonight. He's going to do his top 5 Heisman contenders. Yep. So that's what we got coming for Kelly's kinky rankings. So I guess we'll just get that out there now. I don't think that Dante Dowdle's related to Rico Dowdle. As far as I know, they're not. So definitely not like brothers or anything, though. Maybe they're distant cousins or something. You never know. Bruce is not a big fan of me talking about Nebraska and being good. So I'm sure he would be letting us know if he was here. And then, no, Tony, Nebraska is not in the Missouri Valley. They're in the Big Ten. Appreciate the comment, but come on, man. You know they're not in the Missouri Valley. All right. Let's move forward here. Possibly, well, definitely the biggest surprise of the weekend, and I guess probably the biggest storyline too. Obviously, there's lots this weekend, but NIU beats Notre Dame at home in South Bend, 16-14. I mean, my God, we raved about Notre Dame last week. Like they went to Texas A&M, they got a really good win against a ranked opponent on the road. Obviously, yeah, Texas A&M seems to be a little overhyped every year, but we thought Notre Dame was maybe the real deal. The defense looked super, super good. The offense did its job. It didn't lose in the game. Not the case against Northern Illinois. They lose to a Group of 5 team who Northern Illinois got ranked after this, and we'll talk more about the rankings later. That's probably a little too far for me. But just a horrible, horrible performance from Notre Dame on pretty much every front. Specifically, Riley Leonard.
Riley Leonard. He was really bad. People are already calling for him to sit on the bench next game. It's just the most Notre Dame thing of all time. It's like finally, like Notre Dame's back. They're going to go 12-0. They're going to get that 5 seed, and then you drop a game to NIU. Speechless. Yeah, no, they are now at the point, and again, like Weezy just said, we both sat here last week and said they should really go 12-0 because their only other games on the schedule that they really had that should have been real tests were Louisville home, maybe a little bit of a trap game, and then they go to USC at the very end of the year. And even if they would have lost that one, if USC actually ends up being as good as everybody thinks they are, I still not really buying it as much. But if they do end up being that good, maybe they could have dropped that one and would have been fine. Maybe even still been in the talks for a 5 seed if they played really close. And USC was a top 8 team in the country, something like that. But I mean, completely flipped on its head now because they lose this game. Now you absolutely have to win out. And you probably have to do it in dominating fashion. If you just went out being like by playing like lesser opponents and not like looking great, they're not going to get in. Yeah, well, because the biggest thing too is that people forget with the playoff, and it's gone to the 12 team, so I think it kind of gets forgotten a little bit because obviously we talked about 10-2 a lot, and like that probably being that benchmark where a lot of those last few teams are going to get in at. Eye test is still a very real thing with the playoff, and they've shown it in the past when they've left Florida State. Florida State, God, I forgot how bad they are. Anyways, but yeah, Notre Dame absolutely has to be dominant now. They have to win all these games against these bad unranked teams by multiple scores. I think they have to beat Louisville at home, I think, handedly, and then they're going to have to go into USC and win. That's the one game that they probably don't have to like completely dominate in and could still get by with, but they have to look damn near flawless for the rest of the year to get into the playoff. And this is 1 week after we were talking about, not even 1 week, whatever, 4 or 5 days after we were talking about how they already locked up the 5 seed. Yeah, like the 5 seed might be locked. So, I mean, yeah, just disaster central. Historic loss. Yeah, what are your thoughts on the people calling for like Marcus Freeman's job? I don't think it's that crazy, which is funny because Marcus Freeman was the talk of the town last week about how. Yeah, but here's the thing: like what year do they lose to Marshall? His first year, right? Yeah, and then that's the thing too. Like it's just he continues every single year. There's going to be one letdown game, and it's not just a letdown game where like you maybe lose to a team you should have beat. It's like you lose to Marshall at home. You just lost to Northern Illinois at home. those aren't letdowns. Those are holy fuck. Like, what are we doing here?
Do you think that like the playoff, or not the playoff committee, but the AP voters almost, I don't know if this really makes sense, but like, are they almost trying to like save Notre Dame like already though by like ranking NIU this week? Like,
Yeah.
because if NIU, if they somehow I guess actually end up being good, then like they'll be like, okay, well this game looked really bad, but NIU is actually a really good Group of 5 team.
Which I like.
But
I
this is
can't
like
you
NIU
can't do
is
that when
gonna-
they like. They're. I'm sure
they might drop out of the rankings like next week, just, even if they win. Like Kelly's over here shaking his head, like, NIU boy. But
no, they're gonna win the MAC. Their game next week's pretty cake, and their QB's awesome,
they're
so.
officially full back schedule until they play NC State, which is weird that they play. They go in conference play to then NC State. No,
but it's like we have like
But
I don't know who Illinois plays next week, but Illinois was the first team like out of the rankings this week. Assuming that they play like a team that's like a power 4 opponent, and if they like win by like a score or two, like there's a very real chance that NIU could just drop immediately out of the rankings.
Yeah, I mean, which is, but then again, what are we doing if they're gonna like win next week? We drop them.
But that's what they do. The AP, again, I don't want to get into too much because we'll talk about it later. But like, I don't like the way that the AP voting system works. It just because it feels like they're just constantly moving teams up and down for the hell of it. You know, like, kind of get what I'm saying?
Sorry, the comments are killing me.
Sorry, I haven't been looking at them. But I do feel like the AP vote is just always kind of a joke. Like it's just they just move teams for just no reason.
Well, they
like if you put a team
they started a bad precedent in week 0 by ranking Georgia Tech, and dropping Florida State only a little bit. Which fine, it's week 0. We've not seen any other team play, right? Like that was the first game. Fine if you do that. Like it's not like we don't know what NIU could be. It's like there's still a MAC team who's not great.
I'm not necessarily
Notre
saying
Dame
that
is awful.
Yeah, like I don't think like now that they put them at 25, like I feel like you have to keep them in the rankings until they lose, and it's they shouldn't be though. They should not be a ranked team.
No, but
so it's like again, it's kind of a stupid thing to I guess be mad about, but
it's also they're gonna do what they want.
It's just
they're gonna do what they want.
Yeah.
Even if they win, they'll probably drop them. It's like, hey, NIU, remember that week you were ranked in 2024?
Yeah, and it's just dumb. Yeah, like don't rank them if you're just gonna drop them for winning.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense. The only time you should be dropped for winning is if in this situation where like Texas jumped Ohio State because they pounded Michigan at home, who at the time was a top 10 ranked team in the country, and I still think is a very good team. So yes, that in that situation that makes sense. But NIU just getting in for kind of
bring up another heartbreak because it's literally parallel to it. Happened in week 1 and not week 2. But Michigan, being the ranked number 5 team 20 years ago, Appalachian State came into the big house and beat them. They went from number 5 to unranked without receiving any votes. That's how that should play down. And that does not also mean you have to rank NIU or App State.
Yeah.
That means that the team, who was ranked number 5, who lost to a MAC team, probably isn't a very good team.
Yeah. No, it's frustrating. It's annoying. All right, let's move forward here. Actually, I guess before we do that, let's take a quick break. Little 1-minute commercial here. Before we get into kind of just the other general landscape of college football outside of those, big games that we wanted to hit on. Because there's still plenty of matchups that were very well worth noting that some of them we already kind of mentioned a little bit, but we'll talk about them more. Before we do that, though, like I said, we're going to go to commercial. Listen to Rock Hard Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs. We'll be right back.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12 plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
College Football Dogs, for the fans.
All right, welcome back to Rock Hard Ball. Again, shout out. Go check out the website, cultureballdawgs.com. Previews, recaps coming for every single game. All the breaking news and stuff is on there as well. So make sure you check that out so you can stay in the know. Tony, not smoking the grass. Just a big weekend, big culture ball weekend. Obviously, it was a lot of fun. I wasn't like at the Nebraska game, but I still yelled "Go Big Red" like an obnoxious amount at the rail yard. Got some good callbacks though, so it was worth it. Weez, what's the deal with your voice? Just
a little under the weather.
Just a little under the weather. Maybe a little extra hangover type thing.
I don't think so.
Yeah, probably. Because you're kind of a loser. No, Tony, we
We
do
done
not.
a personal record of Diet Cokes yesterday.
Woo.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll heal you.
I put down 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Time frame, like
Between noon to like midnight.
that's okay. That's not that bad.
It's a lot of Diet Coke though.
Dude,
Yes.
my roommate
Maybe
does like a case every couple days, dude.
That's bad.
Yeah, it's
It's
really
like
bad.
gross.
I felt gross after I drank 5
Yeah,
Diet Cokes.
It is. Yeah.
I'm not a big pop fan in general, honestly.
I don't know.
Like, I like it like in
like
mixed
the
drink, but
the ice cold Diet Coke really helped.
I like I like a good like cold, pop on like if I'm like hungover, something like that. Like I went and got Chipotle like on Sunday, like after the on Saturday night, got like a large, root beer. Like that was amazing. But other than that, like in that situation, then like, like in a mixed drink, I'm just not really a big pop drinker. So little off topic there. But no, Tony, we do not have that sponsorship secured yet. If you want to work on that, get us in touch with the right people. That'd be great. You let me know, man. Let's move forward here with some of the other games, some of the ranked teams that fell at home. So the one that we've kind of already mentioned a little bit is Illinois. We haven't mentioned who they actually beat, though, I don't think. But if you forgot the preview from last week, they went into not into.
They were at
But I guess it wasn't at home, but ranked team that lost. Sorry, I don't know why I put at home. Kansas lost to Illinois. 19th, Kansas State. Not Kansas State. Oh my God, I'm all over the place. Kansas Jayhawks. Bad game from Jalen Daniels. Really bad. He threw 3 picks. Not a good look at all. Did he also fumble? Yeah, I think he fumbled too.
I thought he had 4 or 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
I also, I'm not gonna lie, I did not watch a lot of this game.
No, I didn't
saw
either.
some clips,
It was just kind of at a weird time. Anyways, so Illinois wins though. I honestly like this a lot because yes, that makes the game against Nebraska a little scarier, but now assuming that Illinois doesn't lose before that Nebraska game, I don't know what the rest of their schedule looks like. I'll try and pull it up here quick. But assuming they don't lose before Nebraska, then they should be ranked somewhere as well. Maybe no, I guess it's just Central Michigan. Then they play Nebraska. I forgot this game's only in 2 weeks. But assuming they win next week, they were the first team out in the voting. So if anybody in the top 25 loses, or even again, like we mentioned, NIU just dropping out just because, there's a very good chance Illinois is going to come into Nebraska ranked. So that gives them another opportunity to maybe strengthen the resume a little bit with a ranked win. But just shout out to Illinois and Brett Bielema because they just always find
they do, but it also kind of sucks. Like Kansas football has always been just so bad. I kind of
the
want them
backfield
to have like a good
is
year.
Electric too. And,
and it's just
Jalen Daniels was terrible, but still very good player.
Yeah, it just sucks a little bit.
But. Yeah, not an ideal look for Kansas, but again, shout out Illinois, got the job done. All right, what else do we have for the ranked teams that lost? Who am I forgetting here? Oh, the big one. We got to talk about this one a little bit, probably in depth. Tennessee just shit stomped NC State. Final score is 51-10. Nico Imlov was good.
Pretty sure
that Tennessee roster was good.
I was on the record on Thursday saying that was going to happen.
I honestly don't remember.
I don't remember either, but it sounds familiar.
But NC State just couldn't run the ball at all.
I mean, obviously, yes, they couldn't. They got throttled. Like how good of a quarterback's Nico right now?
I mean, he's pretty damn good. He did throw 2 picks in the game.
Yes, but like, where would you put him in terms of like amongst the country?
I don't know. It's so hard, like when you don't have like everybody in front of you. But I mean, he's definitely top 10.
Yeah.
And you probably make an argument he's top 5. I don't know who all fits in that top 5 right now. I mean, you have probably Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, Jackson Dart. I'd probably say is still ahead of him.
Jackson Dart's ahead of him, but again, that one's like weird to me because I am high on that Ole Miss team, but they have not played squat. They score in every.
Some people still really like Jalen Milroe. I mean, he's good.
Yeah, he's fine. I'm trying to think.
Cam Ward,
Dylan Gabriel, probably still.
Yeah, I'd still say.
There.
I mean, Oregon's faltered a little bit, but I don't think that's going to be like a long-term problem. But we'll talk about that more in a second. But yeah, really impressive win from Tennessee because NC State, like, yeah, they struggled a little bit there in that week 1, but they eventually started getting the job done. I still don't think that NC State team's like bad. Probably, like they're probably still solid.
They're solid. I
Wouldn't
don't.
be shocked at all if they still win 8 games this season.
Yeah, I mean, 8's fine, but again, losing to 41 in that way is a very tough look.
Yeah. But Tennessee, very big statement win for them. Iowa loses to Iowa State at home. We mentioned it earlier a little bit that they, were not able to get the job done. They blew the lead. They were up 13-0 at halftime. Then the offense for Iowa completely disappeared. The Iowa State offense completely just came alive. I think they outgained them in the second half by like almost 200 yards. So, bad luck for Iowa in terms of the way they faltered. And so I guess we'll kind of pose the same question that we've done with a couple of these different games is I think it's more of like an indictment of like, Iowa's not that good. Iowa State's, is like a very good team. Or these two just like both. I think they're probably just both like very close, and they're probably both like a top like 25-30 team.
Yes, I think they're both top 30, but it's like Iowa's Iowa. Like how many? Like last week, there was all the word was that Iowa has an offense now. Iowa has an offense now. They don't. Like again, it's better than what it has been in years past, but they still don't. They're still Iowa, and I mean, there's a reason why the spread was so close. But I do though think that they're both neck and neck.
Yeah. Other one, not. Again, I don't know why I put it on the graphic as being at home. It was like 1 or 2 teams, but Georgia Tech, who should have never been ranked, they lost to Syracuse 31-28. I will say though, more like shout out to like Syracuse in this one, and specifically Kyle McCord. We did give him a little bit of love last week when we kind of previewed this game, but at the same time, like people, hated on him all offseason long, like for being the reason that Ohio State was bad last year, and we both said it, like. Kyle McCord is still a good quarterback. He just wasn't good enough for Ohio State to win a national championship. And I think even still, if he was on this Ohio State roster that's been a little bit revamped this year, Ohio State wouldn't be much worse at all. Having him instead of, Will Howard. Will Howard, I still think is probably better, but, not in a extreme kind of way. But Kyle McCord is a very, very, very good quarterback in terms of playing for a program like Syracuse and in a conference like the ACC that's just not very good.
I wish Michigan would have got him.
Yeah, they would be in a lot better spot right now if they had him. So
he's a stud.
Yeah, no. So shout out to him. It'd be kind of fun to see Syracuse, just have a really good year. And, Kyle McCord be good. I know, like there was a story, something about how, this was like he said to himself, like this is kind of like my last shot. Like I want to still go prove that I can go play in the NFL. And so like he went somewhere where he thought that, he could win games, had the job. So I guess shout out to them.
By the way, if Joe Milton can get a look, he can get a look.
Yeah, well, Joe Milton. Have you seen his arm though? See how far you can throw it.
You see how far you can throw an orange?
Yeah. Let's get to ranked teams that didn't fall but survived upset scares. There's plenty of them. Seemed like all Saturday long, like I said at the beginning of the show, teams were in danger of losing games. Probably the biggest one that we can start off with right away. This one maybe could have deserved its own little graphic is Oregon and Boise State. Super fun game on Saturday. Oregon ends up winning 37-34. Ashton GT, we talked about it a little bit like last week after his big game. Do you think he does have a real shot to win the Heisman?
I think he's the number 1 candidate right now.
I think, if it was awarded today, I think he would win. But well,
we talked about it. We literally said if he goes in and does what he did last week to Oregon, he's like legitimate. Like he ran for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and I mean, if Boise State wins out, gets that playoff spot, and he is, continues to be the main reason behind it, I do think that there's a very real shot that he may actually win the Heisman. So. Shout out to him. Obviously, Boise State wasn't able to quite get the job done. They, made a late push there at the end, but come up a little short. Dylan Gabriel, again, stats looked really good this week. 18 for 21, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns. Didn't throw any picks, did have a fumble. But Oregon is probably the number 1 team out of the ones that, maybe struggled a little bit here in the first couple of weeks that I'm just not worried about.
Yes, I mean, you're not even a little bit.
No, not particular, because like even in this game where it's like people are like kind of freaking out a little bit, like like Oregon for the second straight week, struggle a little bit with a lesser team. It's like Boise State, I think, is the favorite to be the playoff team from the group of 5.
Yes, but I'm not worried about Boise State. Like obviously, yes, this was going to be close. Do I still think that this should have been a 3-point like game close? No, I should not have.
But they're kind of a similar situation.
But when you go play that bad against Idaho, I need to see more.
Yeah,
they're not in the same situation as Michigan as we've
not as much, but like they did bring like Dylan Gabriel very good, but like he's still a new quarterback. A couple new pieces. They had some guys go to the league last year. That was Oregon was a good team. So again, we just overreact too much. I feel like in the first couple weeks of the season, yes, there's not zero concern for Oregon. And yes, I will say they probably aren't quite where we thought, because we did think they were going to be that tier with Georgia,
thought it was those
Ohio
4.
State, Texas, and then Oregon.
Yes.
Yeah, I will say after the first 2 weeks, definitely less confident in saying that. But I do 100% still think that they're right in that second tier with like Alabama, Ole Miss, like Mizzou, Penn State, whatever. Like that next list of like 4 through whatever 7 or 8, I think Oregon's still right there.
I agree, but that's like not where they want to be.
Yeah, fair enough. They want to
go
win
out and get
they need to win
Dylan
national
Gabriel.
title.
Yes, they brought enough pieces in where you want to be in that tier 1 category. So them playing the way that they have these first 2 weeks, I would say, is one of the bigger shocking things.
Fair. Okay, another team that everybody was really high on last week, and then now all of a sudden kind of getting turned around on a little bit. Penn State at home, Bowling Green comes in, and they damn near lost. They were losing at halftime, 24-20. End up getting the job done. They get the win. But I mean, a little concern here for Penn State struggling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Drew Aller, I mean, he played fine, 13 for 20, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. He's still not very good. Singleton had a great game. He ran for 13 carries, 119 yards and a touchdown. No, it's 100% reason to be concerned. I think it's very obvious what teams are not in that, like in maybe that tier 1, tier 2. I don't think Penn State's a tier 2 team.
I think the biggest probably concern just in general, because it's kind of just at this point been stacking, is maybe not just for each of these individual teams as much, but a conference. The Big Ten does not look nearly as good as we thought it was going to be.
No, because I still think they are tier 1, but I still don't think Ohio State's looked like unbelievable like they should have. Obviously, they're still beating the shit out of teams, but like those are games where like I thought Akron, they won like 50-6 or something like that. The game was like very like what the hell's going on in the first 20 minutes, because Akron is like the second worst team in FBS.
Yeah.
So no, you're right. The Big Ten as a whole has not looked good.
Yeah, it's a little shaky right now,
The only
especially
team
for
that's looked actually semi good is USC.
yeah, especially for
Nebraska.
a conference that we've talked about, possibly having like 3, maybe even 4, if everything broke right, teams in the playoff, which that like looks like almost just no chance of happening now. So I'm really just interested to see. It is kind of fun though. Like obviously, like if you're like a conference prestige guy, or whatever, like if you want to really root hard for your conference, then yeah, it's kind of concerning to see the Big Ten like struggle. But like especially as like a Nebraska fan on a program that's looks to be on the up and up, it's very fun that like the Big Ten is more open at the top than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like,
my team got shit on this week, and it's like, okay, well, like, yeah, they looked really bad, but like, is Oregon like really all that?
Yeah, like because
like we could beat Oregon.
If Oregon had looked like we thought Oregon was going to look like,
I would say
for a couple weeks, then yeah, Michigan's very, very concerning because they probably don't win that game. Same with like, do they play Penn State this year?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Penn State, obviously their schedule is still very, very light, which helps, but we're gonna have a line of the 2 lost teams. So if they're not dominant, in these other games, and if they lose to USC on the road, lose to Ohio State at home bad, then yeah, their resume will become questionable too. So we'll see what happens. Who else survived? There was at least one. Oklahoma, they almost lost to Houston at home. Who Houston did? I think did I pick them or did you pick them? Both of us pick them as to be like the worst team in the Big 12.
Be the worst.
Yeah, so that's a little concerning, I think, for Oklahoma to almost lose to a team like that. They got the safety at the end of the game, which was kind of funny. But Oklahoma State wasn't necessarily going to be a huge, upset, but Arkansas did, give them a scare. Arkansas is not necessarily a bad team, but still an unranked opponent that came in and gave you a ran for your money. Probably the most concerning thing was that Arkansas was able to contain Ollie Gordon for the most part. It seemed like, he had 2.9 yards a carry, so that could be concerning for Oklahoma State going forward in terms of like other teams looking at as a game plan of like how to beat them when they play better competition down the road. Kansas State, shout out me on my bets, which we'll talk about later. I had said, +9 for Tulane. Looked like they might have were actually maybe win the game for a little bit. But Kansas State ended up getting it back together, got the win on the road. Tulane, though, still, I think this game proved it, very real contender to get that group of 5 playoff spot. And I think that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah. I mean, LSU played Nichols Colonels, gave up 21.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit of backing up our original point.
I don't think LSU's good.
No, you're right. But no, that's pretty much wraps up college football.
Oh, I guess I will say one more thing. Shout out to Clemson for bouncing back and just kicking the shit out of App State this week.
Yeah.
Cade Klubnik had 7 touchdowns in the first half. So, I mean, that's the way you respond after getting just shit stomped in week 1. So,
Well, and like we said, I mean, losing like that to Georgia does not mean you're a bad football team.
yeah, no, definitely not. Trying to read some of the comments here, but I'm assuming most of them are just probably not very serious. Is Friends the problem in Kinnick? I don't know.
Might be.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, they'll never fire him, but I don't know. He has to retire somewhat soon, I would think. He's getting pretty old.
It's got to be.
He knows he's never going to win a national title.
No, but to be fair, like, why would Iowa have those expectations?
Yeah, but I mean, I think the one thing that, you know, you could kind of look forward to at Iowa for years was like
Was going
Big
to
Ten
the Big Ten
championship.
championship,
And that's
and it's
never
like,
gonna
all right,
happen
who the hell's going to kick our ass? You know?
Yeah, no, that's never gonna happen anymore. And Eric said that Oregon's struggling, no shock after losing the greatest quarterback in the country. Big Dicks Nix. Nix struggled a little bit in his debut in the NFL.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. But all right, let's move on from that. Last thing I guess we will do as far as college football goes before we kind of get out of here, we'll take a look at the new rankings. I've already kind of said I'm not a huge fan of certain things. But here we go. 16 to 25 NIU, like I said. Whatever, yeah. Let them have their fun. It is just stupid. If you're gonna drop them right away, though, then it's stupid. Why don't put them in there to begin with? If you're gonna keep them in there for winning, sure, whatever. I don't care. Boston College comes in at 24.
Don't like it. Florida State sucks.
Yeah.
I get that they handled them a lot better than Georgia Tech. I still don't like it. I don't think Boston College is like deservedly ranked.
Yeah, Florida State.
It's just a really bad fucking football
they're
team.
not bad. They're not good. Yeah, they're not good at all. 23, Nebraska back. First time they've been ranked since 2019, I think. Yeah, 2019, I think, right? Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, shout out to the Cornhuskers. Might be back. We'll see. Obviously, still got some tougher opponents left, but very, very refreshing to. I was saying this earlier. It's such a good feeling to like go on my ESPN app and hit scores, and I don't have to change it to like Big Ten or just FBS because the auto goes to top 25. Nebraska's right there. It's a great feeling to just be able to open that up and just have their game be right there. It's nice. 22 is Clemson. Move up only 3 spots.
They should be higher. You cannot convince me Iowa State's a better football team than Clemson.
Yeah. So, but Iowa State at 21, I still don't like hate. Like I maybe slightly high, but I don't think it's like bad necessarily. But Clemson just should be higher, I think. Arizona State's right at 20, which makes sense. I mean, they just kind of handled their business this week. 19 is Louisville. I think was that exact same spot as last week too. I don't know, pretty close. Notre Dame drops from 5 to 18.
Unranked.
Weezy thinks they should be unranked. I think that it would have been fair to, especially if you're going to rank NIU, like it'd been fair to drop Notre Dame out of the rankings this week. Although I still think that they probably will finish the year as a top 25 team in college football.
Yeah, they will. I'm just like, which is why does it have to be always like a projection?
Yeah, that's why the AP poll sucks, because we're not just ranking teams based off how they played so far.
Some are projections, some are not. Like I don't think the AP voters think that Boston College is going to finish as a top 25 team.
Yeah, it's the double standard, and because there's a couple towards the top 2 that I still will just refuse to get behind until it's like the end of the season. They're 12-0. So 17 Michigan dropped from 10 to 17. Like this one, yeah, I don't like hate that one. I think that's a pretty good spot for Michigan because again, like I said, I think that Texas is really, really good. But again, if we can't really decide if we're doing projections or true rankings, because if it's true rankings, then you maybe could make an argument that Michigan should be even lower or maybe
I thought they'd be in the
borderline
20s at least. So that tells me that one's a projection.
16 LSU, I hate. I think they should be unranked. I don't like LSU at all.
No, not a very good football team.
No, don't like them. 6 through 15. 15 is Oklahoma. What were they last week?
7?
No,
15. They were 15.
So I don't really know how they dropped like one spot.
Who was I thinking of? 7.
I don't know. They dropped one spot for barely surviving against, who was it? Houston, like the worst team in the Big 12.
Yep.
Again, doesn't really make a ton of sense. Kansas State at 14. That one's fine. They were 17 last week, move up 3 spots for beating a very good group of 5 team on the road. I think that's fair. Oklahoma State at 13. It's concerning, but
it's also one of those though, when you have
is a solid opponent.
You have 2 higher ranked teams, like obviously Michigan, Notre Dame.
Everybody's
gonna have to move up.
Mm-hmm. Utah's at 12. Makes sense. They just played Baylor this week, won by a couple scores. Is fine. 11 is USC. Again, so this is like the opposite of the ones that we had in like the 16 to 25. Those ones feel like projections. This one feels like a true like ranking of like what we've seen this year. Yeah, if we're going purely off what we've seen, then yeah, USC is probably should be a top 12 team in the country. That's fine, but I don't think that I don't know. They've convinced me a little bit more, but I still don't think that USC is that good.
Yeah, Clyde, can you try to find me a Michigan USC spread?
Mhm.
It should be out of that game in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
'Cause
probably.
I'm thinking if that spread's like any more than like 2 in favor of Michigan, then it's a total projection, or not a projection. So like right now in this moment.
But yeah, still don't like USC. I don't know what it's going to take for them to get me fully on board, but I just don't trust them at this time. Miami, Florida at 10. What is it? Did you find it?
It's 9 on some books and 1 on the others.
Oh,
Yeah.
what? Okay.
It's only on
Oh shit.
FanDuel.
Okay.
1 on
So,
FanDuel, which is
1
a
on
lot.
FanDuel and 9 on DraftKings.
Yeah. Fuck
Weird.
Valley. 2.5 is weird.
Interesting.
That game at Michigan.
Yes.
I could give USC like 4.
I bet you USC is going to be favored going into that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'd say like USC -4.
Okay.
I think is a fair line.
Well,
Yeah.
right now DraftKings has it as Michigan by
that's
almost 10, which is ridiculous.
Oh wait, they have Michigan by 10.
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell?
Hammer the spread.
Yes.
USC.
Okay, weird.
USC spread, baby.
Like I still think there's a very good like chance that Michigan win that game, but like based on again what we've seen, I do think that USC should probably be favored by like roughly a field goal.
Yep.
So, anyways, back to it. Miami's at 10. Whatever, that's fine. Oregon's at 9. I get it, but at the same time, like I do still think that they'll be closer
It feels like they're
to that top
like
6.
the only team that's really getting punished for playing close games right now.
Absolutely. Penn State again, like what you just said. Penn State stays at 8, which they just almost lost to Bowling Green at home. So I don't know, and obviously Boise State is way better opponent than Bowling Green.
Yes.
So I don't know.
So it's a little double standard right there.
Tennessee's at 7. So they jumped up 7 spots, which I think is fair. Again,
If you manhandle a ranked opponent like that, you should get
on the road
double out.
too.
Yep.
Yeah, so fair. Missouri's at 6. Again, still a weird team. I need to like actually sit down and like watch the Missouri games because I just don't even know what to think about them. I have no idea.
I've not watched a lot of their football yet.
Yeah, no, hand up. Haven't watched much from Missouri, so maybe that's good. Maybe it's bad. I have no idea, to be honest. So, top 5. 5 is Ole Miss, 4 is Alabama, 3 is Ohio State, 2 is Texas, 1 is Georgia. I think the top 5 is probably perfect.
Yep.
Don't really have any complaints there.
I agree.
Good. All right.
Yeah, I think it's right. Moving Texas to 2, just given how bad they messed up Michigan. I guess they didn't throttle them by any means, but they got them.
Yeah, good old fashioned throttling. Okay. Tony's heading out. See you, Tone.
Good night,
good to see you. Good to have you back in here. All right, let's we'll go to another quick commercial. And then when we come back, we'll start in on the NFL recap. Lots of good stuff to talk about there as well. Maybe not quite as crazy as college football was in week 2. But it was fun having the NFL back, so we get to talk about what we saw there, who surprised us, who let us down. So that should be fun as well. Once again, listen to Rock Hard Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs. Make sure you're checking out the socials on the banner down there. Give us some follows. But we'll be back in a minute.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12 plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
College Football Dogs, for the fans.
And Gene Daniels. We're back. Just flexing the wheeze about my fantasy team there. That went crazy in my one league. Cass, if you're still out there listening, I hope you're scared because the fantasy football team is looking lethal this year in the ND fantasy conglomerate. So watch out, world. Very, very good. All right, let's get into some NFL recap stuff. We'll kind of just go down the list here, talk about each game one by one. We can start with the sad news for me. Packers lose 34-29 versus the Eagles. The loss itself doesn't actually count because it was in Brazil. So the Packers are still 0-0. They haven't played a game yet.
Also, backing up your point, they played on a slip and slide.
Yeah, no, it was just a mud pit. So that game just doesn't count as far as I'm concerned. The only thing that counted in that game is that Jordan Love sprained his MCL and is out 3 to 6 weeks. I will say though, I'm okay, like, because now he's fine. Like, it's just an MCL sprain, which not ideal. He's gonna be out for a few weeks. We have to play Malik Willis at quarterback, which is scary. But it could have been so much worse. I mean, the slow-mo video of his knee popping out was
you were panic texting me that night.
Yeah, it was bad. Cass, I was also panic texting him. Bears level coping, not even close. Caleb Williams sucks, so we'll get into that later.
Want to know?
Anyways, so again, loss doesn't concern me. Most of it was fine. The Eagles are a good team. Like, they're gonna be a playoff team. So it happens. And again, it was in Brazil, so it doesn't really count. Crime, slip and slides, doesn't matter. But Jordan Love is gonna be out for a little bit. Slightly concerning. The bright side for the Packers is that the schedule is fairly doable. While he's potentially out, they have the Colts at home, which the Colts, they looked good in week 1, almost knocked out the Texans. But there's still a real chance that they could win that game. At the Titans, that one's going to be a Malik Willis legacy game. Heads back to Tennessee, the team who gave up on him. He's probably going to throw for like 608 touchdowns in that one. So that, very, very high potential to be a win. Yeah, Colin's got the knee up there and doesn't look great.
Sideways.
And then the Vikings game at home as well. I mean, they're starting Sam Darnold. They beat the Giants, but the Giants are horrible. That is an absolute dumpster fire.
Sam Darnold balled out though. We'll get into that later.
Giants, but okay, yeah. So if he's able to come back after those 3 weeks, I guess some people think he might even be back for the Vikings. I do hope that actually doesn't happen. I hope that hopefully they can just win at least one of 2 versus the Colton Titans, and then I think it's fine to just sit them versus the Vikings, and then you can maybe be okay with just going to the rest of the season 1-3. Obviously, it's not ideal. But after that, you got to go to the Rams. That's gonna be a tough game. Then you get Cardinals at home, which frisky team, could give them a test, especially if Love's not playing. But definitely got a little bit of a break with those first 3, and then we'll just have to see what happens after that. Prayers up for a good fast recovery. So
that was quite a bit of like a Bears going down. Okay, so if we get to here, then we get to here, then it's like
I learned from the best in the business. Shout out Big Cat. He's the best at just spin zoning the Bears.
I will say, obviously it only being 3 to 4 weeks is very good, but I think we keep forgetting the huge elephant in the room, and that's Malik Willis sucks. He's a really bad quarterback.
Yeah,
just saying we're gonna go in, maybe beat Indianapolis, definitely beat the
I'm not saying definitely win any of those games. I'm just saying that
right now I'm not
writing them off in any of the games,
though.
But yeah, but I'm also not going to write them off in a single one. And I don't think that's being delusional. The roster is the defense is much improved, I think.
I'm writing off the Colts.
Okay, fair enough. You can write that one off. But I do think there's a very real chance they can go to Tennessee and win. And I think that there's a very, very real chance that they beat the Vikings at home, even if Malik Willis is still playing. Josh Jacobs looked good, even on the slip and slide. So hopefully, ride the running game a little bit. And I think everything could be okay. Also, shout out Emmanuel Wilson, who had some really big runs in that game. So, Jane Reed, electric.
Yeah, Jane Reed.
We all knew the receiving core was going to be deep and have playmakers all over the place. So yes, I obviously it's very concerning. I'm not going to lie. Yes, I'm worried that there's a chance that we could lose. That we could be 0-4, maybe even 0-5, depending on how long it takes. And then before Jordan Love come back, and then obviously at that point we can only probably afford, maybe 2 more losses. So yeah, no, I won't lie. Yes, it's concerning, but at the same time, I'm not writing off the season by any means. If this was an 8 weeks injury, then yes, the season's over.
No, I wasn't trying to write off the season. I'm just saying it.
I was just reiterating my.
Okay,
my
yes,
beliefs.
I think a 1-3 start seems very probable.
Yeah,
probable here.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, I'm not writing you guys off. If he comes back in 3-4 weeks, then everything should be fine. But I think it's a little you cannot expect to be above 500 with Malik Wilson in the lineup.
No, shouldn't. But what if we are? Never know. All right, we'll move on from that one. That's pretty much really all we have to say there. I would say because obviously the Love injury is just the biggest factor there, and then the game itself actually didn't technically happen. So, all All right, let's get into Sunday slate. We'll just go down the list here. Steelers and Falcons. Disappointing letdown there from the Falcons. We were both very high on them. I believe we both picked them in our bets.
We did.
And so we both missed on that. I also just immediately lost out of the survivor pool because I took the Falcons to win this game. So that was fun.
Yep. Nathan did text me about that one.
Yeah, not great. Kirko definitely rusty. That was, I think, the biggest takeaway from this one.
They not look great at any way. But then again, like, let's talk about it. They didn't look good. I think it was a little bit maybe too much for us to just think Atlanta would just, week one open up and just start like hammering a team like Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin like knows how to win these games.
Yeah.
So in hindsight, bad bet. And then also Justin Fields having to play instead of Russie. He's not a very good quarterback.
No. Are you still a Justin Fields defender?
I think if Fields played for the Bears that game, I think he would have probably gotten 100 rushing and then 150 throwing, and it would have been a very more entertaining game to watch.
Okay, so we'll consider another suspension for Clyde.
He didn't even play that bad, I'm going to be honest. It was all Steelers defense anyway, so I mean.
Exactly.
It's not about not playing that bad. That's Justin Fields' career like wrapped up in like one like
bad.
When he retires, we'll be like, it wasn't awful.
Yeah, I mean, this might be the year. maybe Russell's just like
I don't ever in a million years want Justin Fields to start an entire year at quarterback for my team.
No.
If I want to win a Super Bowl, I do not want Justin Fields taking the snaps.
Yeah, but the Steelers,
they're not going to win. There's like one team where you could maybe argue like, okay, well, like it's not maybe the biggest deal. Like if he started like for San Fran these past few years, there's so much talent, and with his running game, along with like,
maybe, but at the same time, it's like San Fran. So much of what makes San Fran special though is like weapons, and that's why a guy like Purdy works because he just gets the ball out fast. He's accurate, delivers to the playmakers. That's like the opposite of Justin Fields.
Yeah, he does. His
thing is that like he can extend plays with his feet. He can make plays happen with his feet, and he can throw the ball downfield. But like he's just not a consistent like good thrower.
Yeah, I'm backing up with you. Yes.
Yeah,
Justin Fields is not a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you want to get in here again, Clyde? Or
I'm losing the case.
Okay. Fair enough.
Dude, you gotta let him go though.
I can't.
I know so many Bears fans that like feel like the biggest Mitch supporters. Let him go.
Look at Caleb. He played like shit.
We'll get into that.
Okay.
But you have your guy.
Not my guy. I didn't draft him.
Not bad.
You were clinically insane if you still want Justin Fields over Caleb.
That is loser talk.
That's not loser talk.
Yes.
All right. Bills beat the Cardinals 34-28. This game, I mean, we call it pretty much perfectly. You actually took the bet. I didn't bet it, but I was basically, right there with you on the reasoning. Bills at home, thought they'd win the game. But Cardinals, I think they proved it. They are still a team that will make things interesting pretty much every week for any opponent that they play. Josh Allen, which went Superman mode a little bit in this game at times, and he's going to have to do that all season.
He's going to have to do that all season, which is what we said. If they're going to be a good team and make it to the playoffs and win that division, he's going to have to do what he did this week and almost do it almost every other week.
Yeah. Kind of a disappointing debut for Marvin Harrison Jr. He only got 3 targets for a catch and 4 yards.
He looked bad.
Yeah, no, it's a little concerning, but I do have him in fantasy. So, not the greatest debut, but I think he'll, I think he's too good of an athlete to, just be bad. And he's not even just one of those guys too that was just like, he went to the combine and was like, oh, this guy's a physical freak. No, he was like the best receiver in college football
like
for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So, I think he'll be fine. Not going to overreact to that one, but it was a good game, exciting game. Arizona, kind of made a late charge, but just wasn't quite enough. So, Bills start 1-0. Next game, Bears and Titans. We'll get into this one a little bit. Clyde is over here talking about how he thinks that Caleb Williams sucks. I also said it too earlier as a joke. Want to make that very clear, complete joke. Listen, if the Bears swung and missed again on a quarterback, it'd be really, really funny.
It's not even funny.
Especially like
there's got to be like a full-on like investigation.
Yeah. But I think it's just a rookie starting week 1, a little bit of jitters, stuff like that. So he wasn't great, but
he doesn't get nervous though.
Luckily, his defense did back him up. That Levis pick six at the end of the game was one of the worst throws I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
Is that the one where he fell to his knees?
He was getting taken to the ground, and he just shovel passes it directly to the Bears D-back, takes it all the way to the crib. Jonathan Nowens, I think was right, or no, that was the blocked punt. Who had the pick six? You remember?
I don't remember.
That one's got a touchdown that game.
I don't know.
Might have been JL.
Jonathan Nowens is the one that everybody's talking about. That was the scoop and score.
Tyreek Stevenson.
Okay. But yeah, the Bears defense and special teams scored every single point in the game. So not a great start for the Bears offense.
I mean,
looks to be same old Chicago, just like
you
same
want
old
to
Iowa.
know,
But
and the
I
fact
think
that you're 1-0 shocking. But like this was the year where it's like, okay, we knew last year they had a great defense. We knew this year they were gonna have a great defense again. It's like finally though, like they have Keenan Allen, Roman Doomsday, DJ Moore. Finally have a quarterback. That offense was so bad.
Yeah, horrendous. Not a good look for the Bears. Yes, you started 1-0, but like, I mean, if you're a Bears fan, you gotta be concerned about the offense.
Well, like Caleb Williams extends plays, but some of them that he like the 20-yard sack that he took, you just can't do that in the NFL.
No, yeah, no,
You're not gonna be able to twist your turn. Like you're not playing Tulane.
Yeah, it's not the Pac-12 anymore. So I'm not writing Caleb Williams off by any means.
No, I'm not.
But definitely not an ideal debut.
And then probably want to hit on a Doomsday.
Oh yeah,
He's dead, dude.
He's a minor MCL sprain.
He died.
His knee.
It's a minor MCL.
We need him, dude.
Rodgers is out, or not Rodgers. Jesus, Rodgers. Love is out like 3 to 6 weeks. I'm pretty sure a Doomsday's is like less severe than his was.
Yeah, I thought they said he was like week to week.
I know, but we need every piece we can get.
Well, obviously they can't get the ball from them anyways, so it doesn't really matter.
That's the receiver's fault, I partially believe, and also Caleb.
To be fair, actually, we're missing on like that interior offensive line's bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Like that's what's going to hold them back from winning 9-10 games.
I still don't know why we drafted Darnell Wright. He's probably the best O lineman we have on the team, but oh my god.
Yeah, no, though. Oh,
It's just bad, dude.
Sound that Bears fans made off far too often.
well, I mean, to be fair, I'd be terrified if I was like a Bears fan.
Yeah.
They didn't like at the same time. It's hard to win in the NFL. You
Yeah.
want to know. Be happy.
Oh baby.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of 1-0 and teams that should thoroughly appreciate every single win, Patriots knocking out the Bengals 16-10 week 1. Jacoby Brissett for MVP campaign has officially started. Just kidding, not really. But they somehow won this game, which was just an absolute rock fight and was just terrible football to watch.
The Bengals do this every year.
Yeah, I actually like they said on
They're like 1-8.
Yeah, he's in the Burrow era. They're I think like 1-4 or something like that in season openers. And like even just the first like whatever like quarter of the season in general, they're just not good. I mean, also T. Higgins didn't play. Jamar Chase didn't practice all week before this game. Which wasn't a recipe for success for the Bengals, really. You would think that they could get away with it against the Patriots because they're bad. Shout out Ramondre Stevenson, though. He had a good game, 120 yards and a touchdown. But I mean, I don't have a ton of other thoughts about this game. Like the Bengals are gonna be fine, and the Patriots should just appreciate the chance that they got.
Yeah, it was
have
a
a win.
fun
So,
win.
yeah, good for them. Texans Colts game that was exciting ends up being a 29-27 win for the Texans. Anthony Richardson had that one clip on Twitter of that deep bomb.
Yep.
Other than that, though, I mean, kind of up and down game from him.
Yeah,
he had
wasn't
less than
great.
50% completion rate, threw a pick. But obviously that deep bomb like alone like is enough to be like hell yeah. He also had a couple nice rushes. So
the funniest thing here is Joe Mixon like got 30 carries.
yeah, that was how old is Joe Mixon?
I bet you he's not even 30.
Yeah,
I feel like he's one of those young guys who's just been
that
in the league
felt
for a
like he's
while.
been here forever.
yeah.
He's
I bet you he's
28.
28.
Yeah, so younger.
I mean, 30 for 160 and a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's a great debut.
They are both the league leaders right now for carries and yards. So receiving core that's revamped, got plenty of work. Nico had over 100 yards. Stephon Diggs caught a couple touchdowns. And Tank Dell, the field stretcher a little bit, just 3 catches, but had 40 yards. So Texans look good, I thought. I think this Colts team is, again, a little frisky. They'll probably win 8-9 games, maybe somewhere around there, if Anthony Richardson can stay healthy. So good start to the year, I think, really, for both these teams, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, also in Houston, I think it was clear Nico is going to be that receiver one.
Yeah.
He's going to be the one that changes games. Stephon Diggs did have the 2 touchdowns, but it was all kind of dump offs.
Mhm.
Like he didn't really impress me, but I didn't know who would be the number 1 guy. I had a feeling it was going to be Nico, but I think it was like reassured that he is sneaky, probably not like thrown. Like he's one of the better receivers in the league.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I wish I don't know. I wish I would have been more confident like drafting like him in like fantasy, but I was really scared in that situation of like Nico or Stephon because I didn't know.
And then you
who the
also
hell
have a
was
guy
gonna
like
target.
Tank when
Yeah,
Tank
Tank.
played like for 4 straight weeks. He was the receiver 1.
Yeah.
It was a sticky fantasy situation.
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
very scary. Let's move on, I guess, to another AFC South team. That was an action versus an AFC East team. Miami beats the Jaguars 20-17. T-Law continues to just do this dance with us where he just looks really good, and then it's like, what the hell is he doing? I don't know. He kind of had a meh game for
This
the
whole
most part.
game was a meh game.
Yeah.
The fact that Tua threw for like 340 yards was crazy. Like the biggest news of this game was Tyreek Hill getting arrested.
Yeah. So Tyreek Hill gets arrested outside the stadium before the game even starts. And not just arrested, like tackled to the ground by the police and like getting put in handcuffs. Terrible look. Just a bad day for a good guy, stand up human. Not really, obviously, but yeah, just a bad look to go into a game. Pretty funny. I did the handcuffs celebration though when he scored. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, that rocked.
Yeah. So Dolphins though appear to just be the Dolphins again of the regular season. I mean, Tyreek had 130 yards and a touchdown. Waddle had 109 yards. They each had catches for over 60 yards. Tua just slung it all over the field. So I mean, nothing in this game really surprised me at all.
No, nothing.
The Jaguars were pretty just meh, and the Dolphins were
yeah.
just like super explosive on offense. And then, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know what else to say there. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this game because I mean we talked about it in the preview, and we'll talk about it. Saints just crushed the Panthers 47-10.
That was one of the biggest ass kickings I've can remember in like NFL history.
Yeah, because the NFL you don't see these just massive blowouts very often.
You don't see like 30-0 at halftime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this was bad. This was one of those got just out of hand very quickly. Bryce Young.
So I thought that they would be maybe a little good.
Still,
it's officially very concerning.
No, yeah, it is for sure. We'll give him a couple more games this season, obviously, to see what kind of happens going forward. But he was very, very bad. He was 13 for 30 for 160 yards and had 2 picks. Not good at all. Also, prime Derek Carr might be back.
Which sucks because we really shit on this offense like a week ago.
Yeah.
Against Carolina, but putting up almost a 50 burger.
Yeah, no. No matter who you play in the NFL, obviously they're all professionals. So very impressive to put up those kind of numbers no matter what. So yeah, shout out to the Saints. Good dominating win there in week 1, but I'm not gonna spend any more time there because Saints are probably gonna win 7 or 8 games and Panthers are just bad, so no one cares. Let's talk about the dumpster fire that is the Giants.
Right now, code alert, they're on 0-17 watch.
They're horrible. Daniel Jones has to be the worst.
Did you see that stat?
The worst. What?
Did you see the stat of his? I'm gonna look like such an idiot if this was fake, but it's like I want to say the stat was showing that ever since signing that mega extension, he has more pick sixes than touchdowns.
I mean, I wouldn't really honestly be that surprising.
I think he has like 2 throwing touchdowns and 3 pick sixes.
It's definitely possible because he is so bad. He is horrible. The Giants front office looks horrible,
and the Hard Knocks hurt him too.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was getting at. Yeah, it's so bad. We can't pay a guy a $12 million guy just to have our whatever it is $140 million guy hand off to him or whatever. Probably should have paid the $12 million to that guy that went and scored 3 touchdowns down in Brazil. And maybe cut this whatever $140 million.
And they're like, guy. Why would anybody pay like $11 million when you can pay Tony Pollard $7 million? It's like, are we being serious right now?
Yeah, I don't. Why would you pay a guy who sucks at playing quarterback like he's a top 10 quarterback? 1
playoff win, and it's like, in hindsight, them winning that playoff game could have set this franchise back like 15 years.
Yeah, no, it was just it's going to go down as maybe, well, I don't know. We're going to get to the Browns here eventually, but one of the worst contracts in NFL history.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
It is
because when he signed that, was he like top 5 after he signed his extension?
Highest paid?
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes, it looks so bad. And because it's like, I mean, a guy like Jordan Love, like the Packers paid him big money, and it's like, yeah, it was 1 year, but like he looked, had a really, really good year. Like he was, not special, I guess, probably the first, half-ish of the season. But like he was solid. And then the second half, like, yeah, you tell this guy's really, really good. Daniel Jones has like never ever shown that he has any type of special. It was literally just the fact that like, hey, we can maybe win a playoff game with this guy. Like we should give him all of our money.
I mean, if Daniel Jones is throwing the football 42 times in a game, it's not a good sign.
No, not good at all. And shout out to the Vikings.
Yeah, and also shout out Sam Darnold. He did great.
Played good. We'll see if he can kind of keep it up for the season. But I mean, the Giants, the defense too, it's not, particularly special by any means. Shout out to your guy, Tyler Nubin. He led the team in tackles.
Yeah, he's a dog.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go forward. Coach Harbaugh, I guess he did what Sharon couldn't figure out how to do: win without cheating. They beat the Raiders 22-10. I'm asking you, settle down.
All right.
But Chargers do get the win in the opener with Harbaugh. Really just riding the field goal kicker in this one. They scored 9 points in the first 3 quarters before they finally ended up getting a touchdown towards the end of the game. So shout out to Dicker, the kicker, 3 for 3, including a lawn field goal of 53 yards. But I mean, it was the Raiders. The Chargers should have won this game, but they did so in good fashion. Harbaugh showed the NFL right away that he was going to continue to do what he likes to do, and that's pound the football. J.K. Dobbins, 10 carries for 135 yards and a touchdown. Gus Edwards also carried 11 times. Didn't really do much on the ground, but
As
obviously showing that they are going to
as
run
a
the
football
ball.
community, can J.K. Dobbins stay healthy for one season, please?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to
That
see what
guy
happens.
has been through so much.
He's always so good too when he's healthy.
It's the first 2 weeks of the season. He's unbelievable, and then something brutal happens.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully his knees stay intact. That'd be fun to watch. But Chargers could be a fun team to watch. We'll see.
It's crazy though. Jim comes in and immediately that defense looked very good.
Yeah, that's another good point. Defense did look good. Was the Raiders, but still looked good.
This is the same Raiders that put up. How much did they put up last year? 63.
Yeah, I think it was 63.
Yeah. So it's the Raiders, but it's a 50-point difference.
Yeah, no, good point. Seahawks Broncos. I mean, thought the Broncos maybe be a little bit exciting. It's probably a game that they would have liked to win. But Bo Nix definitely struggled in the debut. Made a couple plays with his legs, including that one long run that he had. But she really struggled throwing the ball. He threw 2 picks. He threw the ball 42 times, and he only had 138 yards.
That's so Bo Nix.
Yeah, they wrote Geno Smith off. He didn't write back. He had a pretty solid game for the Seahawks. I mean, I didn't really watch much of this game.
I'll say this:
that
I
super
live with
exciting,
a
but
Broncos fan, so I had to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was just a really gross football game to have to watch.
Yeah, understandable. Just look. I mean,
Just trying to
Bob
watch the
Square doesn't always
Broncos
tell a story, but
yeah,
this one does.
just trying to watch the Broncos get anything going. It was not good. Bo Nix could not extend the field one bit. We were a little bit higher on them, I would say, right? We both thought Bo Nix and this team could actually be somewhat good offensively. Really starting to question that now.
Yeah, and again, it's week 1. I mean, week 1 in the NFL, I think it's definitely still more telling than college football. Like, I feel like you don't get as much fluky stuff in the NFL as you do in college, but there is still that kind of stuff that can happen, especially when you have rookie quarterbacks. We said with the Bears with Caleb Williams. I'll say it again with the Broncos and Bo Nix. I'm not going to write him off, say he's going to be bad. He did prove, in the preseason against, number 1 defenses for a lot of the times early on in games that he could, play at this level. So we'll see what happens. Again, not having a debut like that isn't good, but it's also not like a, season ender by any means. So, Cowboys went into the Cleveland and they just stomped the Browns 33-17. It was never a game. They got up like 20-3 at the half and just never looked back. We talked about the Daniel Jones contract, how that might be the worst, borderline in NFL history. Luckily for him, they signed an even worse one with Deshaun Watson within like the same year, I think, maybe 2 years span. He looks really bad. I don't know if he'll ever get it back. Now apparently there's another charge against him for
Like a
sexual
worse charge,
assault and
worst
like
one.
battery. Yeah, like might have been even worse than the other massage ones. So not only is that going on, he apparently also is just really bad at football too. So
It's
not looking good for Cleveland.
I don't know if it'll be next week, but I have very good feeling.
Give me
one,
Jameis.
if that whole sexual assault thing, it's crazy that you're just going to keep rolling them out every single week.
Yeah, I don't know how he's still in the NFL. It's weird.
But we're going to get Jameis.
Yeah. Give me Jameis or give me death.
So much more fun.
Good guy too. Like
Wow.
at least if Jameis is bad,
Compared to that,
He's not
guy,
just a complete
it's
scumbag.
really easy to,
Yeah. and
be a
I
good
mean just
person.
super fun. So
Yeah.
Go eat some W's. And then I mean Cowboys, there's not really even that much to say. I mean, they just kind of did what they do. I mean, they really weren't like outstanding on offense or anything in this one, but
defense
is really good.
Really
Yeah.
backed him up.
So good win for the Cowboys to get the season started.
I will though say Ezekiel Elliott had a few runs where I was like, did they bring him back to 2016?
Yeah, he also looked
He
like
opened the game with a hurdle. I was like, well,
Yeah.
isn't this the fat guy who's can't run anymore?
well, yeah, no, and when he got done too, I kind of had to look at the TV. I was like, is that Ezekiel Elliott? Because he also looks like 30 pounds lighter.
No, he literally went for that hurdle and pretty much got him. My whole house just started going
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah, no, that was weird. Hey, maybe Zeke's back. I don't know. We'll see. Bucks took care of the Commanders. Jaden Daniels had the best debut, definitely, of the rookie quarterbacks. He didn't throw for any touchdowns, but he rushed for 2. And just really looked good, making guys miss with his feet. In the end, though, this Commanders team just didn't have enough talent, I don't think, to keep up with the Buccaneers. Shout out Baker Mayfield for the second year in a row. Looks really, really good off the bat in week 1. After the Falcons kind of sputter a little bit in week 1, Bucks looked really good. Maybe that division will be a little bit more interesting than we thought.
Yeah, and there was also,
we never wrote the Bucks off, but we definitely thought it was the Falcons to lose.
Yeah, 100%. Big bright side too with Bucky Irvin. Rashad White averaged 2.1 per carry. He was not good. Bucky Irvin from Oregon came in. He was explosive right away. This Bucks team, I like him. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
And obviously Mike Evans is going to do what Mike Evans does.
Yeah, I don't know.
Catch a lot of balls.
Every single year, I feel like kind of forget that Mike Evans exists, and then he just goes for 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns on the year. It's like, oh yeah, Mike Evans had another like top 10 year. All right,
it's like make that 12 in a row.
Like, all right, hey guys, that bona fide Hall of Famer in Tampa just played really good again. What's Jamar Chase up to? It's like, I feel so bad, but I'm gonna keep doing it. Like I will never remember that Mike Evans is like really good, and it just feels weird that he just continues to do this year in and year out. But shout out. Final game of Sunday. Your Lions help Weezy out of a deep dark place. They beat the Rams 26-20 in overtime. That was a fun game to watch. I really enjoyed it. It was a good way to end Sunday. Get the week 1 of the NFL kicked off and ready to go. One thing that was a little disappointing for me in terms of fantasy standpoints. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs looks like he again is going to lose a lot of carries to David Montgomery, and then Laporta also wasn't quite worth maybe the whatever 3rd or 4th round.
The Lions didn't play good.
Been on them, but yeah, they didn't exactly look great for most of the game. But at the end of the day, though, they got it done. Yeah. Jameson Williams makes that offense a lot scarier.
Yeah, if he can he's not going to obviously do that every single day. Amon-Ra had a really not great game. I think he caught 2 or 3 passes. I don't know if you have the spread.
He has 3 catches for 13 yards.
Yeah, that's not what Amon-Ra does in his career. But obviously, we're not going to get 120 something plus yards from JMO every single day. But if we can get glimpses of that every single week, this is going to be a very scary offense to run. Which, in terms of fantasy, it might be like a little much, like too much, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah,
this week was David Montgomery and JMO. Next week could be Laporta and Gibbs. It's just like they have just so many weapons, but they not play well. And defense still kind of sucks.
Yeah. Rams. I mean, the Rams should have won this game. They should have. I think they controlled it for most of it. Obviously, that Stafford pick in the end zone was bad. But
Rams win this game if they're healthy. They had 2 backup tackles, Aiden Hutchinson.
I forgot about the line play. That was ridiculous. Like, weren't they on like the 3rd or 4th string like by the end of the game at the like left tackle or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Like
I forgot what
they started with like a backup.
Well,
and, like he got hurt. I think somebody else got hurt.
Did you see Hutchinson's like grade? He had a 96 grade for PFF for the week. He had 12 pressures.
Yeah,
he won 47% of his pass rush attempts.
I will say though, like shout out to the first guy that started the original like backup, whatever. Like, I think his name Joseph Noteboom. I think his name is.
Yeah.
Most remember his name because I had him in a Madden dynasty one time. He actually did an okay job against Hutchinson
and then he went down.
Then he went down, and then things got
scary. That Curry guy got torched.
Yeah, he got torched. So yeah, that wraps up Sunday.
Also, one more hitter, Cooper Kupp, 21 targets.
Yeah.
He's back.
Yeah, so back. Sorry to the Puka fantasy owners, because we didn't actually officially say he what was this PCL, I think. Yes, PCL sprain. He's going to IR.
Yep.
So he'll be out for a while. And even like if you think back to last year too, which is why again I stayed away from them fantasy. Like Cooper Kupp came back, Puka was not nearly the same that he was when like Cooper Kupp was out. Like
if Cooper
he was still like a solid fantasy option, but
number 1.
Yeah, so if you're a Puka fantasy owner, I would probably try and offload him, but nobody's probably gonna want him. So yeah. All right, Monday Night Football. We finally get to it. Only get to like truly watch like most of the first half. We were obviously doing the show for the second half though, so didn't get to see any of it. What the hell happened there? Aaron Rodgers didn't get hurt, did he?
Are we being serious?
Well, shit, I don't know. we watched a little bit at the end that I didn't see. So I threw a pick though.
I think so. Tyler Taylor had 8 pass attempts, so that's why I was like, "What the hell happened?" I think it looks like though that they just took him out because the game was like over.
Call.
But okay, that like scared the shit out of me for a second. For like in terms of like the Jets, because that would have been so awful if he got hurt again.
Fucking back to back.
But yeah, from what I'm seeing, I'm trying to look through Twitter here quick, and I don't think I see anything about like him being hurt. So that should be fine. If anybody in the comments wants to let us know, 100%. I'm assuming Rodgers got benched, but if he did get hurt, let us know. Anyways, 49ers again. Can we drop any single running back on planet Earth onto the 49ers offense and they'll be good?
Ridiculous. Like truly ridiculous. CMC doesn't play, does not matter.
Yeah. Jordan Mason, shout out. 28 carries, 147 yards, and a touchdown. So hell of a game from him. Debo actually started the game at running back, which they actually ended up not really using that much, but it's kind of funny if they actually just like ran him as like the true running back all game.
Which like they easily could have.
Yeah. Yeah. It would just really funny though to see. But yeah, they spread the ball around. Juwan Jennings had a good game. Debo always has a good game. Apparently Juszczyk had a big play there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Ayuk, did they maybe shun him a little bit? He did have 5 targets, but only had 2 catches, 28 yards. I don't know. I don't want to speak too much on like making assumptions after this game since I didn't truly watch all of it. But from what I did see early on, I mean, the Jets looked okay.
They looked fine
from the part I watched closely early on, but I guess something went wrong eventually.
When I was watching, it was pretty clear though that San Fran was getting a lot of pressure right away. Especially on third down. Like Rodgers had about maybe a second or two to get rid of that ball, which worked at the beginning. Garrett Wilson, if we have a fully healthy Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson's gonna be a monster this year.
Yeah, for sure. He's very, very good. Alan Lazard also apparently had 2 touchdowns for 80 and 89 yards. I didn't realize that. So shout out to the former Packer as well. Okay. That'll probably do it for the NFL week 1 recap. I don't know. There wasn't really anything too crazy, I didn't think, in the NFL this week, but definitely, again, learning a couple things about some teams, and we'll see what happens going forward. NFL always seems to take a couple weeks to kind of really ramp up and stuff starts happening and figuring out who the real good teams are. So we'll see. Let's go to Rock Hard Takes next.
Bone up, folks. It's time for Rock Hard Takes.
Alrighty. So Rock Hard Takes today, NFL coaches that you would have a beer with. I mean, pretty self-explanatory, right? Just guys you'd want to sit down with and just have a beer with, I guess, at a bar, at a restaurant, maybe sit next to him on a plane, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, who has first pick? Do you have any idea?
Oh God,
we do this every goddamn time.
Yeah. What was the last one?
Snacks.
Real snacks.
I think I did.
You had the first pick, so it's me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 1-1. This one's easy for me. He's my guy.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people
that's
agree.
such an easy.
Dan Campbell.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty easy. I will go with 1, 2. We'll with Andy Reid. I think it'd be a fun guy to have a beer with.
He's on my list.
I think he could put down a lot of beers. We'll probably also get some wings going as well, I'm sure. I'll probably have good 10 or 12, and he'll probably have 40. But we'll have a few beers, pick his mind a little bit. Good offensive mind. Could be interesting. Number 2. This is hard.
Yeah, I have a list, but it's not a great list.
Yeah, I don't really know what separates these guys, if that makes sense. Like, some of these guys just seem annoying to me.
I was looking at one, I was like, it almost would have been better. Like, who would you not like be stuck in a bar with?
Exactly. Like, I think that would be way easier.
Yeah.
But I mean, we already kind of locked ourselves in here. Shit, I messed up. I should have taken Andy Reid. Can I go back?
No.
Okay.
Pixon.
All right. Let's go with. Okay, I'm just gonna go homer pick then. I'll just go Matt LaFleur, I guess.
He was definitely on my list.
Can be, I don't know. He seems pretty chill guy. So and then again, a Packers fan, so it'd be fun to just talk to him about the Packers. So
I got 2 here. I'm gonna go next, Sean McDermott. Kind of a wild card. Don't know what you're gonna get. You can get a little football talk. You can get talk a little bit about Al Qaeda.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I took a lot of look at him there on my last pick, and I was like, I don't know if I want to hear about like terrorism for
I think that'd be entertaining.
Could be.
Like you meet him at a bar and you're like, oh my God, it's Buffalo Bills head coach. It's like, Do you know my ISIS is so great?
Yeah.
Whoa! What are we doing, Sean? Okay, so he's
Wow.
2, and then I'm just gonna go with Mike Tomlin.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I feel like Mike Tomlin's like too intense for me. Like the crazy guys he's got going sometimes, like when he's in the press conference and stuff like that.
I think he'd give me like really good life advice, and I'd
Yeah.
be like, "I love you, bro."
Fair enough. Okay. So I'm really
To
glad
be
you
fair
didn't.
though, I said it. My list, like as soon as I said Dane Campbell, I'm like, there's
Yeah.
not a lot of like clear cut answers.
No, I'm very glad though you didn't take what I feel like I messed up on when I took Andy Reid, and it wasn't necessarily from Andy Reid being a bad one, but I felt like I have to do it with the duo pick. Give me Jim and John Harbaugh for my next 2 picks, because specifically sitting down with the 2 of them at once be huge. So yeah, we'll go with the Harbaugh boys there.
All right, yeah, you ruined that one for me. I literally had them next, like if I had a back to back. Okay, so I have 2 more, then I'm done, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Mike McDaniel. Don't know why. He might actually like really piss me off.
Yeah, he might be really annoying, but
At the same time, though, I don't think he's like. Rather have a beer with him than like a guy who Clarence is putting on the big screen right now, Matt Eberflus. That guy just seems so dry to me.
yeah,
That guy would be like talking about how like, why are you drinking a Miller Lite? Like, are you gonna be a man?
Drink a Michelob.
No, he'd tell me to drink some hazy IPA
Yeah,
that I'm
well-
not in the mood for. So I'll go with him, and then next pick. This is really wrong of me to like kind of say, but he's really fat, so he's probably gonna put some down. I'll go with Mike Dable.
Okay.
He'll also maybe vent to me about how bad his team is.
okay, fair enough. Last pick I'm gonna go with that maybe a lot of people don't think about, but seems like he must be really good guy, because his entire team lobbied for him to get the job. Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, he was actually at my 5, but I had to go a different strategy after you took the Harbaugh strat.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Antonio Pierce to round it out. Again, seems like a really good guy. Should be fun to have a beer with. True football guy too. That just would knows how to rally around the boys. So, all right, that'll do it for today's Rock Hard Takes. Ran through that one pretty quick after we debated for a while there, or I did anyways. I cast it in the comments. I definitely did think a little too focused on head coaches. Probably thought too hard about it, but wanted to put together a good list. So I think it's worth it in the end. Let's get to the last segment of the day. Kelly's King Rankings. It's back.
In a world of politics, war, bad beats, and watching your favorite sports teams come up short, sometimes you just need to hear a guy rank random shit. Enter your hero, Colin Kelly, here today for another edition of Kelly's Kinky Rankings.
All right, so if Heisman's were this week, I just made a list of the 5. I'm going to give the first one Travis Hunter, because it's Travis. He put up a crazy performance against Nebraska. It's dual threat. I mean, he'll still be a really high first rounder. He's a Heisman caliber guy. Yeah, his team's dog shit, but man, can he catch that ball? And,
Yeah, no,
and he
he's
can
good.
chase that ball.
He's good. He might be a little too high, but I don't hate the pick.
I think he goes for the triple threat.
I think that he is the best non-quarterback in college football. I honestly do.
Yes, he is.
But there's just no way he'll ever win the Heisman because Colorado's too bad.
Yes.
But I appreciate that you're just going with like who you truly think.
Can he play guard?
Probably not. But you never know. Probably can't
Prime
be worse.
time.
Probably
Prime
can't
time
be worse than what they have, right?
Might throw him in there, man.
Maybe.
Do some separate touches. So yeah,
I
Travis
would
at
be
5.
crazy.
Travis.
Okay, he still did have 10 for 110.
Yeah, like it's insane. Like the whole game was all Nebraska, and this guy quietly got 100 receiving yards.
I honestly feel bad for Travis Hunter. Like
I don't know.
He's a piece of shit.
No.
He is.
No.
A piece of
I
shit.
don't
Okay,
think he
what are
really
you-
is.
what are you saying he
He is
feels-
not nearly as big of a piece of shit as Shadur is.
I don't think anybody hates Travis Hunter.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like
Is that where you were
yes,
leading to?
No.
Or?
No, like I'm saying, like he hitched his wagon to like just a bad horse, or I don't know what the actual saying
Yeah,
is, but
that's
like
why I don't feel bad. He made that move.
no, I know. Okay, yes, it's his fault, but like I think that he was sold like a kind of a false promise by like Dion that like I think he I just feel bad that he genuinely probably believed that like he was going to build a program and like develop him and stuff like that, but it's just like yeah, maybe Dion's like developing like him personally, but I mean, wouldn't you like to have like a chance to win? Like,
Dude, he went to Jackson State.
yeah, because of Dion, like
Yeah, he knows though he's not playing for like in front of 100,000 people. And then obviously they go to Colorado. I mean,
I would have been shocked.
He
though,
took over a
if
1-11
If Dion
team.
had stayed at Jackson State, I wouldn't have been shocked if he transferred out after 2 years.
See, I don't think so. I think he would have just gone until he can get to the league. And then I thought if he like goes to Colorado, a 1-11 program, that's where he's probably like, all right, I'm gonna maybe spend 2 years trying to win at like a big program. So no, I don't like he doesn't get hate. No, he's not as annoying.
I think
as
he
the
does
others.
get he does get a little bit of overflow hate. I feel like
He got a lot this weekend.
he gets a little bit of overflow hate in terms of like people being like just because they just all hate Colorado. But
Yeah. Well, it's like when you are though loud about like which those two back it up. But again, it's not a good look when you're talking so much shit and like you're not a good football team.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. Sorry, we kind of cut into your.
No, it's fair. Yeah, gets pretty hit on. Go with number 4, Money Moss. Probably the best quarterback in Big Ten. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of settled.
I still think Dylan
Yeah.
Gabriel is number 1, but
It's tough because Dylan Gabriel's doing really well, but Oregon.
I like Miller Moss though. I think he's the one part of that USC team that I believe in. But I'm gonna keep going back to they had Caleb Williams last year and they went 7-5. So
Yeah, no, he's good. Gabriel's still my number 1. But no. So having him as a Heisman winner though here would like indicate that USC like has to win like 10 or 11 games, which I just don't see them doing.
Yeah, but they could also just be like quarterback goblins.
To be fair, though, this
Jane
is-
Daniels won it last
it's
year and
just
they
a
won
run.
what 8-9 games.
I think they won 9. To be fair though, again, it's Kelly's kinking rankings. These are his Heisman
Yeah,
winners.
Yeah,
this is also week
for sure.
2.
But
This
you
is
lost
not-
me. You lost me on Miller Moss though.
This is not end of the year. This is week 2. Heisman's a week 2. So Miller Moss, I feel like he's pretty deserving. Hasn't played shit yet. Still needs to play better teams, but I mean LSU's LSU. So
No, Miller Moss is really good.
yeah, he's performing well. And then number 3, we're gonna do Quinn Ewers, but it's Texas. I don't
You forgot the
know.
apostrophe.
Yeah, okay. They probably say that in Texas, so it's fine.
This is probably true.
Quinn Ewer, I mean, it's fucking Quinn Ewer, cover athlete guy. Yeah, he did good against Michigan, but he didn't do anything too crazy. Like I don't.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have to. He's going to put up big numbers.
Yeah.
I don't know what the actual betting odds say, but he's probably the favorite right now, right?
I don't think so.
Really for one?
Actually, no.
He's gotta be
you might
close,
be
right?
right. Yeah.
Fuck. I really feel like he'll just be fine sitting at 3 or 2 for like the rest of the season.
I mean, if he keeps playing the way he is, and Texas wins a lot of games,
Okay, yeah.
he's probably gonna win.
If Texas does go 12-0 in this,
I would think Carson Beck's still number 1 though.
First odds I found has Ewers at 1.
Okay.
Let's see here. He's the favorite on every book, I think.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
he's the favorite on every single book.
well, damn. All right. Well, Quinn Ewers proved me wrong, buddy. So yeah, I guess
2 is actually where a lot of books vary.
I'm seeing Cam Ward.
I'm seeing Cam Ward in a couple, but then I also see
let's go Cam Ward.
Jackson Dart. Oh wait, no, he's 3. Never mind. Yeah, Cam Ward. I guess is
Yeah, he's also an honorable mention. I love Jackson Dart. I love him so much. So I put him.
he was my like launch out like bet at the beginning of the season. So hopefully he does win.
I hope he rides it out, man. Love Ole Miss. Good guys. All right, so yeah, I'll just leave that at 3. Quinn Ewers, nothing too crazy. Yeah, he'll probably win it, but fuck him. Number 2, Cam Ward. He's just cool. I really can't say anything. He's bringing the U back, so I mean that takes a lot because Miami last year, Jesus Christ. I'm really happy that they have Cam Ward now. I wish he was a Husker. But
I mean, if Miami wins the ACC, he probably wins the Heisman, right?
What's up?
I think Quinn Ewers, would have to put up like really, really like crazy numbers, and like Texas had to go undefeated for him to beat Cam Ward if Miami were to also like go undefeated win the ACC.
Yes and no. I think the ACC is getting highlighted right now for not being a very good conference, which I think would hurt them.
But for how bad they were last year, and like him being like the main difference this year,
Miami was not that bad last year.
they definitely weren't good.
They definitely weren't good, but
Why'd they
also
run the
like
ball?
they had games where they could knee the clock, but they run it and fumble.
why'd they run the ball? Why'd they run the ball? Yeah, dude, it's Miami. They're laughing stock last year. Yeah, they probably won like what? Like
Miami they went 7-6 last year.
That's not brutal.
that's not
It's
horrible.
not brutal, but I mean, it's not a team that unless you got a Cam Ward, you would say they're going to win the ACC.
Yeah, no, I just think if like they would have to go undefeated for him to probably win it. But again, the ACC's bad. Like he's not going to go 11-1, 10-2, or win it if he doesn't put up better numbers than guys like Quinn Ewers and Carson Beck.
But man, is he balling up?
All right,
He's balling up.
who's on that one?
Number 1, it's gonna be a fan favorite. We're gonna go with my boy Ashton. This is just strictly week 2. I mean, he had 9 touchdowns in 2 games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been
Nope.
ridiculous.
Nah, yeah, he's a
Enough said. Projected 50 touchdowns for the year.
I don't think he gets there, Colin.
Probably not. Probably
but-
not. That's why it's a projection. But I mean, right now, if Heisman voting ended today, yeah, Ashton would 110% be Heisman.
Yeah.
He's literally carrying Boise State on his fucking shoulders.
I mean, if
How many
think
touchdowns do you
he-
think he legitimately could go for this year?
he's got 9 right now?
24. I'm gonna
Like, it might not be crazy to say that he gets like 30 touchdowns.
That would have to break the record. No,
Probably.
and I know it's Barry Sanders. I don't know how many he had though.
Because when you think about it, they've already played their toughest opponent, and he has 9 through 2 weeks, so he has 10 games left. So it would take him averaging a little over 2 a game.
He can.
Okay,
he could do that.
He's probably not going to catch Barry.
What does he have?
37.
Holy.
Yeah, I don't think he'll break that, but
Yeah, no
but I think he
way.
could get 30. Yeah, I don't think that's crazy to say.
Yeah, 100%.
Because two a game puts him at
I forgot
27.
Do you remember actually looking at this?
37 is fucking crazy.
That is
Yes,
insane.
Christ.
You know who almost caught him though? I gotta pull this up. You'll know him. Sorry, I know this is a bit. I don't.
I thought you had it pulled up.
No, it pulled me to an awful Wikipedia page. So if you guys want to keep talking about Ashton while I figure this out,
Well, we're kind of talking about if he might,
Yeah,
be where he's gonna
I
be
don't.
at.
I don't know if he is going to beat the record, but I mean, yeah, too.
Is that just like from scrimmage or
it's rushing.
rushing?
Touchdowns.
Jesus Christ. I'm gonna try and look it up here too. I'm trying to help you.
No, why am I blanking on his name right now? Wisconsin.
Oh, Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon, I think, is in second place. I think he had 33 or 34.
Yeah, didn't he have like 5 of those on us?
Yes.
Before Barry, it was Mike Rozier, Nebraska. You're 29.
Let's go.
So Barry just shattered that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Why is it just so awful though? Like, why is
Okay.
it
Yes.
possible like
Okay.
this?
Wait, no, that's yards. God damn it.
Monty Ball,
Monty. Okay, I knew he was a Wisconsin boy.
Yeah.
How many did he have?
33.
33.
Rashad Penny at 32.
Odd.
Andre Williams at 31.
Devin Singletary at 32.
That's the only guys from
What
like.
the fuck? Interesting. Interesting.
Oh yeah, what the hell? I didn't even see Devin Singletary.
Dude, you know what'd be sick though? If Ashton
Wait, am I
was-
stupid or wait, did they both have 32?
Who?
Okay, so like
I see Barry at 37, Monty at 33, Devin Singletary at 32.
So what the hell is Rashad Penny? Why is Rashad Penny showing up on here? Because I like sorted it by rushing touchdowns on. Again, maybe I'm on a shitty Wikipedia page that you were on, but now it's like showing me multiple guys for each thing. I don't know why it's. Oh, okay. I realize now.
I didn't realize Blake
So I just
Coleman.
lied. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Barry,
yes.
Monty, Devin Singletary, Capri Bibbs,
Yeah, I don't know who the hell.
Keenan Reynolds. Okay, yeah. All right.
I didn't know JJ had that great of a
Melvin
season.
Gordon also had 29, so he was close.
Yeah, I knew it was one of them. Interesting list though. Again, shocked Blake Corum reached that, but also the postseason really helped with
Who
it.
the hell won the Heisman in 2011?
Who would have won it in 11?
Like, was that Mark Ingram?
No.
Oh, RG3.
Yeah.
What the hell was his stat line if Monty Ball didn't win that year? Was Wisconsin bad?
It must have been. Wait, 2011?
Yeah.
Wait, how many did Monty Ball have in? Oh, yeah, the 33.
Yeah, 33, and then he also had almost 2,000 yards rushing.
A lot of Wisconsin. Hey, geez.
They went 11-3, and they were in the Big Ten championship game. How the hell did he not win the Heisman?
It's probably the same reason why Sue didn't win Heisman.
Well, I don't recall RG3 season. He must have just went crazy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know what the hell his stat line was that year. Okay, I must be on the Ron. Oh no. Okay. Finals that year were Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin III, Trent Richardson, Tyrann Mathieu, and Monty Ball.
We must be like messing up like the 2011, 2012.
No, because why would he be a finalist
No,
though?
it's 2011.
I think it's 2011.
RG3 didn't even go. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
He didn't even have 4,000 yards.
He
No,
finished.
no.
He finished fourth in the voting. Trent Richardson was still ahead of him. He had 1,600 yards and 21 touchdowns. Monty Ball had 1,933. We might have just found one of the worst Heisman voting years of all time.
That's shockingly bad.
Because, like, yeah, sure, RG3. RG3 had 4,000 yards, but like, what did he have rushing though too?
644
Yeah,
and
we can
nine
still-
on the ground.
I'll do it.
That won't do it.
Nah, I'll do it.
You had 45.
This is kind of
you
just
had
ruining that.
45 combined touchdowns.
Because I do feel like when people talk about that year, it was obviously the year that those three, they all went top 3 in the draft. Obviously, we all had very good college seasons, but man, we have been really just messing up by not talking more about Monty Ball in 2011. That's crazy.
Let's go back.
Yeah, I just Googled it. I was like, why the hell did Monty not win? He got 22 first place votes, and that's it.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the full breakdown here.
And it says
he
he
was
just
fourth.
couldn't excite voters the way RG3 could.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
It's
Everyone loves
one
a
thing
QB
for
that
them to
runs.
give it to RG3, and even hell, I'll maybe even give you Andrew Luck at 2. But the fact that Trent Richardson was still ahead of him is really stupid. Sure, he played it on Alabama, who won the title that year, right? And then he went 3 in the draft. But it's not like the Big Ten's a bad conference. Like, he played in the Big Ten, and he beat him in every. He had more yards per carry too. Like, it wasn't just like a bell cow thing. Like, yeah, he did have more carries, but he averaged almost half a yard a carry more than Trent Richardson too. All right, we can move off that. But justice for Monty Ball. That's the moral of today's episode. So if you gathered anything, just take home the fact that Monty Ball got robbed in 2011. Maybe not even from quite the Heisman Trophy, but just the fact that he wasn't even better than Trent Richardson somehow. Before we go, I actually forgot we were going to show this quick. Here's how our bets ended up. We'll stay accountable. Those are our records before. So we each had 3 wins and 3 losses. So I'll go to 6-5. Weezy will go to 7-3. But yeah, we'll say Weezy had the 2 biggest misses. Maryland minus 8.5. They lost outright, and Michigan State plus 7.5.
Still 7-3. Still lead this. Thinking hopefully soon here we can get Clyde in here, make this like a season-long battle.
Mm-hmm.
But no, 7-3. I feel good.
Yeah,
Maybe had some misses, but it's not the end of the world.
We'll be back next week. We'll be better. We were both undefeated the week before that, so we were both coming off hot. And obviously, I dominated in college this week, but NFL was not my forte, I guess. We had a little bit of each, but yeah, that's how our bets ended up. So I just want to throw that out there quick before we got out of here because I almost forgot. All right, that's that. Thanks you all for tuning in today. We will see you all back on Thursday. We'll be previewing week 3 in college football, previewing week 2 in NFL. Any other major storylines come out, maybe we'll get more info on the Deshaun Watson situation because I'm sure that'll ramp up here in the next few days. We'll see what happens, but for today, that'll be it. Another reminder, check out the socials, all that good stuff. But for now, we will see you next time.